Hello and welcome back to TVP World. I'm David Kennedy and I'm at the Economic Forum here in Karpacz, and I'm joined now by an expert on Turkey, but not just on Turkey, on the whole Middle East. There's been a lot happening, and there's been a deal which has been signed between Israel, Turkey and Azerbaijan, and we'll talk about that as a launching pad to talking about relations between those countries, and we'll see what else we get up to. But meanwhile, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
No, great to see you. I believe you've been on our channel, but we did it at a distance.
It's my privilege. It's my first time in your channel, but in your wonderful country, it's my second time.
Fantastic. Now, let's get down to business. This deal which has been signed.
Well, I just want to clarify. The chief advisor to Azerbaijan, Mr. Hikmet Hacıyev, paid a visit to Israel, and there he made a very important statement regarding an offer for the Turkish government and for the Israeli government that three countries should come together and form an alliance.
Okay.
At the end of the day, Azerbaijan and Israel see Iran as a very important opponent, and unfortunately, from an Israeli angle, unfortunately, the Ayatollah regime is threatening us with, for us, it's an existential threat.
Now,
Therefore, for us, it's very important to cooperate also with Azerbaijan and also with Turkey, because both of the countries they have borders with Iran.
Okay. Now, the question is, now, first of all, from where we are in Karpacz, this very green place, all these three places are very far away. What does it mean? What does it mean for us? Why should we be interested in this deal?
You should be very much interested, because at the end of the day, now in Karpacz, everyone is talking about the war in Ukraine, and Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is continuously sending arms to Russia. And of course, if you would like to basically stop Russia, and if you would like to deter Russia, you should also confront with those forces who are feeding Russia, who are sending arms to Russia. And at the end of the day, Iran is not only destabilizing the Middle East, only sending arms to Palestinian terrorist organizations in Gaza or also in Lebanon, but they're also sending, for instance, UAVs, kamikaze UAV drones to Russia, and the Russians are using them against the Ukrainians. Mm-hmm. As a result, maybe in your very green Karpacz, Iran, Israel, Azerbaijan, and Turkey may be very far away from you, but believe me, Iran is also touching you, but you're not seeing it.
Now, in terms of Ukraine, Turkey's role has been quite a singular one, both as a peacemaker, in the sense of bringing to fruition the grain deal, which essentially kept Ukrainian exports going, as a provider of arms, but also meeting with the Russians, meeting with Putin. Azerbaijan, of course, is a former satellite, which is not at enmity with Russia. Now, what does this mean with Israel joining up with these three?
Well,
should that be a good news for us?
I think if an ally of the United States and a NATO ally, Turkey, and another country like Azerbaijan is cooperating together, I think it's a good news for the West. This should not bother the West. And regarding Turkey's historic role in this Ukrainian conflict, Turkey is the only country which is capable of talking in a very intimate way, both with Russians and both with Ukrainians, because Turkey is a very strong country. It has this geopolitical leverage. And I think that the Turks are using it in a very well way. And another thing, recently Mr. Erdogan paid a visit to Mr. Putin, to Sochi, And there he mentioned that the Turks are willing to cooperate with the Russians also to build the second nuclear reactor, which means that, yes, Turkey is trying to calm down the Russians. And at the same time, the same Turkey, for instance, they sent the Ukrainian soldiers back to Zelensky, and they were greeted in Ukraine with heroes' welcome. So Turkey is playing here a dual game, an ambivalent policy. This is a complex one, and we should not expect from Turkey to adopt a black and white policy, but it's a gray, like 50 shades of gray. Why? Because Turkey cannot divorce from its history. The Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Russians, they fought many wars, and if we're going to look at the Turkish history, the only country that could constitute an existential threat to Turkey, that was Russia. So from the point of view of the Turks, yes, they will not be able to declare an alliance with the Russians, but at the same time, they cannot confront the Russians because it is against their national interest and national security.
So. Well, of course, the Russian Empire grew very, very much at the cost of the Turkish Empire.
Yes, you're right. Once upon a time, Black Sea was a Turkish lake. Today, it's not anymore, right? We all know that.
Once upon a time, there was a Polish influence there as well.
Yes, definitely.
But that's history.
That's
right?
history.
Now we're talking about an alliance, okay? And the other partner is Azerbaijan.
Yes.
Now Azerbaijan, you know, I'm sure it's interesting for its tourism, etc., but it's gas that everybody's interested in.
Of course, gas and oil.
Oil as well.
For Israel, Azerbaijan is very important, also in terms of energy sector, but also we are providing them ammunition. Also, it's very crucial for our defense industry. So, let me say, this country...
Ammunition.
Ammunition, yeah.
You're providing the Azerbaijan with ammunition, which is being possibly used in their war, which is going on.
Yes.
In Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yes, definitely. And let me remind you, according to international law, Nagorno-Karabakh belongs to Azerbaijan, and it is under the Armenian occupation. So, in terms of legal background, this has nothing to do with this should not constitute any problem, because at the end of the day, the territories of a sovereign state was occupied by another state, and if Baku would like to liberate its own territories from an occupying force, I think this is their right to do so.
At huge human cost.
Well, unfortunately, the wars, I'm not going to justify all of the wars because I wish that there were no wars in our world. But
if there were no wars, then there would be no export of arms.
Yes. At the end of the day, what Karl von Clausewitz once upon a time said, the war is the continuation of politics by other means. So, unfortunately, we cannot get rid of this this term, war, from our lexicon. I really hope that one day, yes, but until then, I think also you should be very much aware of what is going on in Ukraine, because at the end of the day, it might also disturb you in the future. Once I was in Germany, and I saw a very good, for me it was unforgettable, a sentence on a wall in a train terminal. War belongs to the museums. As a person who came from Israel, I felt very much, it hurt me, because unfortunately in Israel, war does not belong to a museum. And I was very jealous of the Europeans.
Yes.
Then,
well, here
unfortunately here in Europe, now you're witnessing another war.
Well, here we are. We're in Karpach. Karpach was part of German territory. There's a Goebbels mansion on one of the hills. Dr. Yanarocak. Right. It sounds so Polish.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I received it as a compliment. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all we've got time for.